Oh man, it's that real, isn't it? Silly season indeed, folks. Today what we are doing is we are revisiting David Pagnotta's latest piece on thefourthperiod.com that talks about the Buffalo Sabres, that talks about the start of the Stanley Cup Final means the start of silly season. If you had seen the video that we had made earlier in the week, it was like earlier in the week, talking about Elias Pettersson and the Buffalo Sabres, you would have seen this article already get brought up and analyzed. But the context in which this video was made is that we talked mostly about the Pettersson stuff, the Pettersson-Buffalo stuff that David Pagnotta so eloquently brought up. However, we're taking a look back in this article because there were some other updates about other players on the Vancouver Canucks, and you already know from the title and the thumbnail of this video just where everything seems to be going down in that respect. Let's go back over onto David Pagnotta's latest piece and scroll down past the Elias Pettersson Buffalo talk. The 26-year-old center will see his no-movement clause, yada yada yada, whatever. Pettersson will not be the only topic of discussion surrounding the Canucks over the next few weeks. Goalie Thatcher Demko appears open to a change of scenery and is expected to be in play as he enters the final year of his contract. Demko, who has a $5 million cap hit and does not own any no-trade protection, has had health concerns, but he is excited to have a normal summer. I'm told he is not battling any issues and is already training for next season, and with the Canucks committed to Kevin Lankinen, teams evaluating their goaltending position will be an option for Vancouver. Now this is quite a lot. And when you consider the other things that we have seen about Thatcher Demko over the past few days, from Frank Saravalli labeling Demko on his trade board to a lot of other social media discourse about the goaltending in Vancouver becoming a little bit crowded here, it all of a sudden becomes more of a bomb when David Pagnotta says, yeah, seems like Demko is open to a change of scenery and he's expected to be in play. Not in play as in he's playing hockey games, but in play as in he's probably going to be discussed on the trade market. This goes hand in hand with some of the other conversations we have had about Artur Silayev. Now, we haven't made any dedicated videos towards Silayev and what's been happening in the Abbotsford Canucks playoff run, but just know, Artie Party has having a really good time stopping pucks and continuously getting shutouts. He's got 5 shutouts in the Abbotsford Canucks postseason run so far, with a 9.41 save percentage and a 1.61 goals against in 14 games. The Abby Canucks have a 2-0 series lead over the Texas Stars. Game number 3 goes on, when does game number 3 go on? Is that today? Let's check it out here. Yeah, it's today. Whoop-de-doo. But Artur Silayev has been so good that it's really started to get fans wondering, okay, Kevin Lankinen was signed on to this long-term deal. Thatcher Demko is reportedly healthy and definitely wanting to get back into Vezina nomination caliber form like he was at last year. And Artur Silayev is doing very, very well in the AHL for the Abby Canucks. Much better than he was doing with the Vancouver Canucks in the playoffs last year, and he was already pretty good there too. So you got 3 guys, each with different situations, and all 3 of these guys can be seen as decently valued NHL goaltending assets. Maybe Demko a little bit less than he would normally be because he's, coming off of a season where he was banged up, but still, he would be valuable. Artur Silayev is kind of the opposite. He was kind of bad at the beginning of the year, but he was fully healthy, and then he was able to come into the AHL, and now he's dominating. And Kevin Lankinen has contract job security, so you're not going to have to worry about him bolting away in free agency if you end up getting him. All 3 of these Vancouver Canucks goaltenders would make for a reasonable trade target for another team because they can all be good. But hearing that Thatcher Demko's name could be tossed out there because he's older than Artur Silayev, He doesn't have contract security like Lankinen, and he is coming off of an injury-riddled campaign. It does make things a little bit interesting when you see insiders talking about Demko in a trade-like scenario, because now it's like, okay, this has started to get real. Frank Saravalli linked Demko to Philadelphia to join Rick Tocchet, and now David Pagnotta saying that Demko's open to a change of scenery? Does this guy want out? There's no way he wants out, right? Okay, the verbiage is a little bit different there. Those two statements send very different messages. Oh yeah, just because he's open to a change of scenery doesn't mean that he wants out particularly, but the idea that he is low-key open to it, that does make things interesting. Maybe Demko himself is reading some of the tea leaves. Maybe he said, okay, well, they signed Kevin Lankinen to a long-term deal. Why did they do that? Well, it's because they don't believe in me long term. Why would you pay $4.5 million a year for a backup? It kind of indicates, potentially, where Demko's position in the lineup is. And in a way, it means the Canucks, they chose Lankinen, and they are okay with him being that guy. Now, I will say, the Canucks didn't really have a choice. When they had signed the Kevin Lankinen extension, Lankinen was on a one-year deal, so he was going to leave, or he had the potential to leave in the summer, and everybody was like, okay, well, then what? Artur Shilovs is fine, but you can't really be too confident in him being an NHL-caliber backup for a full season. And Thatcher Demko, you're going to have to hope that he rebounds and he gets healthy, so what options do you have? You might have to go and sign another guy in free agency next offseason anyway. So the Canucks beat themselves to the punch, and they're like, okay, well, let's just sign Lankinen, and then let's just get this guy back onto our team, and we'll be on our way with more goaltending prosperity in the next few years, because Lankinen is signed on till the end of 2030. And Thatcher Demko is not. Demko's contract expires in a year, so now we are talking about him as a trade target. He's open to change, according to David Pagnotta, and he's apparently going to be in play. With all this in mind, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the idea of Thatcher Demko being on the market and the chances of him getting moved actually being a lot higher than maybe we would have expected? If you had said this to anybody 1 year ago, when Demko was coming off of a Vezina nomination, a season where he was so good, but he was just hurt at the end of it, do you think this would have been a realistic outcome? Do you think the Canucks season being as bad as it was plays into this? And how much do you think that the results of this previously completed year make it more difficult for Demko to stick around long term? Let me know in the comments all your opinions. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.